So, we're here again. We're going to talk about tractor beams. We have here version 1.1, the first released version of Master of Orion 2, Battle at Antares. And I have a saved game. So we're going to load a saved game. In this game I've prepared tractor beam ships. We're going to have a little combat here at Wesat, at this gas giant. We have to click turn first. This combat is not relevant. Here we are at Wesat. The humans are going to attack the Darlock. And I have here a battleship with 4 tractor beams and some lasers. On the other side we have 2 scouts, the basic scouts. This one is actually modified with continuous no range dissipation. And this one is a standard scout with just a plain laser cannon. Doesn't really matter, they're just dummy ships, so to say. Let's move closer to each other. And done. Getting fired upon and done. Let's move this guy here. Okay, so now it's turn of the yellow ship, the Knight. This is 1.1, as I said before, so there's no ship initiative. So one side has an own combat turn and the other side has its own combat turn. That's how it worked. Let's deploy our tractor beam. We've now immobilized the scout. You can see the nice animation. 1.1 still had the tractor beam animation. This ship has been immobilized. It has 0 combat speed. It does still have beam defense of plus 65, so this is not recalculated by any means. Now the point of this video is to show how tractor beams work when you redden or yellow this slot, because you can disable the tractor beam in a couple of ways, which we'll show you here. First of all, if I touch this slot here, the tractor beam will cease to operate. So I've now disengaged the tractor beam by clicking on the slot and making it yellow. So if you click done, we go to the turn of the opponent and he will just click done. Now we're back here in the starting position. Again, we will deploy the tractor beam in the same way. If I now fire, this is the round of deploying. If I now fire my lasers at the other ship, then the tractor beam stays as is. If I click done, however, we can scan the ship again. Still has beam defense of plus 65. We click done again. We're back to our own ship, the yellow ship. Now this ship has beam defense minus 20. Because it's immobilized, it gets the penalty of 20. In any case, if I now fire upon this other ship, the tractor beam will redirect, also retarget to that other ship, which may or may not be intentional, but it happens, you can't prevent it. If I now click again on the slot, the tractor beam disables. So I had a kind of forced retargeting and I could disable it. I couldn't keep the tractor beam on my original target, which is a problem. So by clicking done, we're back again at our battleship. Again, tractoring a ship and clicking done. Now, if I do want to keep the tractor beam on my original target, I have to disengage the tractor beam before firing my weapons. Now I can fire my weapons and then I can retarget the original ship and your situation stays the same. This is how it works in version 1.1. There's no way you can keep your tractor on the original target if you want to fire other weapons. If you want to do that, you first have to disable the tractor beam, then fire your weapons, and then retractor the same target. Which, with a non-initiative situation, is actually okay, because the other party has no actions in your turn, so to say. So disengaging and re-engaging the tractor beam has only some effects. The effects, in essence, are this behavior of the beam defense that will change according to how long you have been tractoring the target. So if you're now done and look at this ship, it is still minus 20, so that's okay. If we're back at our own ship, this is still minus 20, so it's still okay. Okay, that's how 1.1 works, version 1.1. Version 1.2 works in the same way. No changes have been made to the program there. We're gonna close this DOS box. I'm gonna start version 1.3 now. Let me see, that's this one. So here you can see Master of Orion Battle of Antares again, version 1.3 here on the screen. I've put the same save game in this installation. So again, you see Westsat. We're gonna turn. And then we get Ian again, which is not relevant. And here we are again at Westsat, and we click the green, and then we have the same combat situation as before. I'm gonna move closer, redden the lasers, done. This guy moves forward, and this guy moves below like before. Now we are in range. First thing you notice, there's in version starting version 1.3, the animation is no longer there. It's just a static picture. They've taken that out because with animated tractor beams, if you have a lot of them, big battles, many ships with tractor beams, the game would actually tend to halt or stall or even crash with all these moving tractor beams. So instead of really fixing it, they have taken the decision to just remove the animation, so to say. And that's how it remains up until this day. With the 150 patch, it's still this non-animated tractor beam. Anyway, if I click the tractor beam now, you will notice it doesn't disengage. It stays active in this turn. It doesn't matter if I click it back to green or leave it at yellow. In any case, once you have clicked it and you click done, your tractor beam will disengage the next turn. So when the opponent's turn starts, the tractor beam is no longer there. So these two ships will just done. We're going back to our original battleship, tractor it again. And we have immobilized the ship, as we have seen before, 0 combat speed, but still there's a beam defense of plus 65. If we done this like so, now in the new round you can see there's minus 20 here, like we've seen in version 1.1 as well. However, if I now decide to fire my weapon at this other ship, I also have the same issue of the retargeting of the tractor beam, and I cannot put it back, so you can only change the target once every combat round. You cannot do it a second time. That would be, of course, an exploit if that was possible, so they have made that impossible. But I'm now stuck with another target being tractored, which was not my intention. So if we done, and now look at this ship, it has 0 combat speed and still a defense number. The second ship has now regained its mobility, but is still at a beam defense of minus 20, which is kind of weird. These both situations. This is immobilized with a beam defense. This is no longer immobilized, still has the beam defense penalty. In any case, if we go back to our own ship, and I want to fire at that ship, but I do not want to change my tractor target, then the 1.1 way of working was to seize your tractors, but I cannot do that here anymore. I can yellow it, and then if I fire the weapon, the tractor stays on target, which in essence is good. It stays on target. I have fired my weapon at another target. Target of the tractor beam stayed the same. However, if I click done now, I'm losing my tractoring, and again, this ship is now free to move, although it still has a minus 20 beam defense. And the other ship is also free to move, and it has a normal beam defense. So that's how it works in 1.3, and this is also how it works in 1.3.1 and 1.40. 1.40 is the version that everybody plays from GOG and Steam. I either retractor while firing weapons, or I'm yellowing the tractor beam to keep it on target, and then the next turn I lose the beam. Okay, so now we know that. Let's start a game of 1.5. Oops, I picked the wrong version. So first I play a standard game, 1.5. I hope this works, that I have not ruined the... No, the save game is still from yesterday, so it's not ruined yet, not spoiled. And we're gonna turn with Jan combat again and close it. And there's Westsat. This is where we're gonna have the action happening. Same situation, although not quite. I have to redo this. Sorry for that. Close. Yeah, we cheated. Let me see. We have ship initiative on. I want to start with ship initiative off. Remember, in version 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, there was no ship initiative. So we're now going to play with ship initiative off. Here it is, off. And we're going to turn, close this one, attack the green. And here we go. The battleship starts because in the classic situation, no initiative. The attacker always starts, unless it's a monster or the guardian. So we're going to redden our laser. That's to prevent firing on the other ships that will approach. You move forward, and you move below like before, and done. Now it's our battleship's turn. We are in 150. We're gonna tractor our target here. Within the turn, you cannot it won't change. You can't retractor. See, it just stays as it is. This is kind of the same. Now we're done. This guy is immobilized and still has his plus 65. Same inconsistency is here in the 150 standard. Now we're done. If I now shoot or fire at the other target, there will be retargeting, which is not what we wanted, and I cannot put the tractor beam back, same as before. Done. Now if we now redden or yellow, it doesn't matter really, our tractor beam and fire at the other target, we have an actual hit, but the tractor beam stays on the original target. If we click done, we are not losing the tractor beam anymore. So the tractor beam stays on target and we don't lose our target. That's what was changed in 150. Now scan this ship. We're now at -20. This ship is back to 65. Okay, so if we... no, I have to close this now. I'm going to restart with 150 improved. A lot of versions to show in this video. So we've now started with 1.525 improved. It's not released yet, by the way. Released is 24, 25 is in development. Doesn't matter, 25 and 24 operate in the same way when it comes to the tractor beams. So for this example, it doesn't matter. So we load our save in 150 improved. We're gonna turn. And we select combat again. Now immediately, remember I did the game setting, I turned off ship initiative, but 150 improved, it forces always ship initiative to be on, no matter the setting in that menu. So this is why the frigates, the scouts, start first and not our battleship. So the rules are not the attacker starts, but the one with the highest initiative, which in this case is the scouts. Scouts move forward. And done. Now we want to move in range, redden this first, and then move in range of that farthest away scout. Like so. So we're gonna tractor this guy. And if we look at that guy now, it immediately has -20 beam defense. So it is immobilized like before, but it also has lost its beam defense because it was immobilized. It's an important feature of the improved mod in this case. It's not in the patch, but it's in the mod, that the beam defense adjusts equally with the combat speed and not a turn later. In the same way, in reverse, if we click done and we redeploy the tractor beam to the other guy, This combat stats here are restored immediately. So the ship has gained its full combat speed of 13 and its beam defense of 65 at the same time, not one after the other. This guy is immediately, just like the first target, minus 20 beam defense. Clicking done. If I now fire at the other ship, with both weapons on the green, the target will be fired at and it will be tractored. And because it was immobilized, you get a higher damage of your laser because they had no beam defense. I'm not allowed to tractor back still. It's the same way. It would be an exploit, so you can only track the target once. And if we're done, then we are reaching the end of my little demo. How tractor beams work. So version 1.1 and 1.2, you could disable the tractor within the turn and retractor within the turn as you saw fit. That was a little bit of micromanagement to handle correctly, but it worked quite well. Versions 1.3 and 1.4 and 1.31 and all variants of that. If you yellow or redden your tractor beam slot, you will lose the tractor target the next turn. The tractor beam will cease to operate, which is not quite ideal. It's kind of annoying, so to say. So in the 1.50 patch, that yellowing or reddening did not disable the tractor beam any longer for the next turn, but it did prevent you to change targets while firing other weapons. And what we also saw is a difference between the 150 standard game, the classic game, so to say, but patched, and then the improved mod, where the beam defense numbers update within the turn. Also the ship initiatives, by the way, all combat stats in essence are updated within the combat turn as they happen, which gives more realistic experience of effects of weapons in the game. So that's it, what I have to say. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like if you liked it. If you leave a dislike, also fine. Give me a comment why you did. It helps me improve my videos. Hope to see you in the next one. And bye-bye for now.